So in the context of helping consumers make trading down feel like trading up, there's also the positioning of making them also feel that they're doing the really smart and the really sensible thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the word smart is really key in the current context. I mean, one of the things that we've seen that's very interesting is in our research is consumers' attitudes towards discount retailers, whereas in the past they might have perceived almost they might have felt a bit ashamed or embarrassed to admit that they shopped in discount retailers. We've now seen kind of much more positive feeling towards discounters as people feel that and are very kind of happy to sort of say that they're, it's the smart thing to be doing and the smart choice to be making. And we also see brands trying to reassure consumers that purchasing their products is a smart thing as well. So perhaps, one of my certain favourite examples is McDonald's in the US, who've been running a great campaign to promote their new, new kind of espresso product in their stores, directly taking on Starbucks with the line that $4 is done, as we can see in this kind of poster campaign that was actually kind of run in Seattle outside Starbucks stores.
And it's interesting because, of course, it doesn't mention Starbucks at all, but everybody looking at it will know instantly that it's a full frontal attack on Starbucks.
Absolutely, and in one of their other executions, they used the kind of strap line that large is the new grande. So really kind of taking Starbucks on very directly, but in a slightly subliminal way.
So the final area is looking at underwriting risk and the notion of we're in this together, and probably the best starting point of this is a tremendous commercial proposition from Hyundai. Let's take a look at this.
This is a car commercial, but it's not about cars. It's about the people who buy them. A decade ago, Hyundai gave people confidence with America's best warranty. Today, we're providing another kind of confidence. Buy any new Hyundai, and if in the next year you lose your income, we'll let you return it. That's the Hyundai Assurance. We're all in this together, and we'll all get through it together.
Visit HyundaiUSA.com for details.
I think what's really interesting also about this Hyundai example we've just seen is that they also linked back to the innovations that they brought in at first to bring into the marketplace, and reminded the consumers of that from a brand value perspective, and then moved on to give them a really unique proposition that was first in the marketplace but positioned them as on the side of the consumers and also significantly taking the risk out of buying a new car, and it has been phenomenally successful in new car sales. Now, of course, a great new strategy is always very quickly copied when people realise how successful it is. And what have we seen of people who've taken that idea and used it in their product areas?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's been copied not just by other automotive brands, but also by other sectors. So in the US, we've seen JetBlue Airways offering to reimburse consumers if they're made redundant on the cost of their plane tickets. We've seen Virgin Mobile in the UK offering to reimburse consumers the cost of their service charge if they were to lose their jobs. We've seen Walgreens in the US offering to extend consumers' membership of their in-store health clinics, even if they were to lose their jobs and their health insurance. So lots of other categories and brands are adopting similar strategies to, as you say, take the risk out of some of the purchases that consumers might be making, particularly around bigger ticket items.
Of course, one of the problems that retailers have got in own label and growing it is actually encouraging consumers to try this in the first place.
Yeah, and I think one of the most kind of audacious campaigns that we've seen in that vein is from Publix in the US, who have been running a campaign where they've been offering consumers that if people buy a brand, a big name brand, they will give them the own label equivalent for free, so that there's no risk in kind of trying the own label, and they're kind of using the line that we're so confident that you'll like Publix that we'll let you try ours for free.
Well, interesting strategy, and be intriguing to have a look at their own label penetration and see whether this strategy grows it significantly. I suspect it probably will.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else are brands doing to convince their consumers that they're really on their side in these difficult times?
one interesting example from the US is Miller, who have been running an interesting ad campaign where they have been telling consumers that they are on the hunt for stores and bars that they believe are kind of cheating consumers, and if they find stores and bars where they feel the proprietaries are cheating consumers, they're withdrawing their product from those stores.
Well, in terms of charging them more than they should do, or?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is kind of slightly ambiguous as to the detail, but it's a kind of interesting kind of positioning as kind of very much being on the consumer side. We see other examples in financial services. For example, Barclays in the UK have launched what they're calling their kind of personal reserve current account, which uses the line that in case of emergency, use your reserve, and they're offering a kind of an extended overdraft facility to allow consumers to kind of manage their way through difficult times.
So finally, Will, from I suppose the sublime of the Hyundai example we started this section with, to the other extreme, which is an astounding promotion by a winery in San Francisco.
Yeah, this is the kind of crush pad wine producers in San Francisco. They've launched a wine brand called Bailout, where they've linked the price of their wine to the Dow index, and essentially the way that the proposition works is that if the Dow falls, they reduce the price of their wine in line with that, but if the Dow rebounds, then they've committed to not then increase the price. So it's one of a number of examples where we've seen brands looking for more innovative ways to connect with consumers in these times. Lots of hotels are running similar promotions as well, where they've linked the cost of a hotel room to, say, the price of oil, or the price of a kind of main stock market index, just as a kind of way to kind of lure consumers in, tempt them in, and to demonstrate that they're on their side.
I also think it's just a nice light-hearted way, in a sense, of making people smile in otherwise depressing times.
Yeah, absolutely, and perhaps a kind of nice light-hearted way of doing it, as opposed to perhaps one of the more sinister examples I've seen is a restaurant that had pictures of its employees in the window, and above the pictures it had a caption that sort of said, "Come in, or one of these is going to get it."
Well, I'm not certain that makes for a very restful and enjoyable meal. Well, thank you very much indeed for coming in today. If you'd like to get the examples that Will and I have spoken and discussed about, you can do that by downloading them from the URL that you see on the screen at the moment. Well, if you'd like to also get in touch with Will, you can get him at the Futures Company, and their web address and Will's email address are on the screen as well. I know he'd be delighted to make contact with you and speak with you. Well, Will, if you don't mind, we'd like to invite you back, because I know you're doing quite a lot of work on the post-recession consumer, and if you have a look at a lot of the metrics that we are now beginning to see, certainly some of the economic data out of a lot of the markets around the world, it does seem like we may well be having to talk about the post-recession consumer very shortly, and I'm sure everybody will welcome that as well. So on behalf of everybody here at the store, Will, thank you very much indeed, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks a lot.